This is Ron Klopfenstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. Hi everybody, welcome to the hot seat on this Media Monday. You may be able to hear this in my voice, or maybe not, but I'm still kind of fighting off that cold, but we're going to do the best we can here. So this is Thanksgiving week, which means Friday is Black Friday. And a lot of people are going to be getting up early, 5 in the morning to be out there to get widescreen TVs and stuff. But there's so many other things you can buy too. So we're going to talk today, we're going to talk to two people kind of have alternatives to Black Friday. First, we're going to talk to Sarah Marris-Swann. She's the founder of Utica Creative Reuse, and that's a group I've kind of like. I've seen them around this summer at different community events in Utica, and I'm so curious about what they do. They have all this really cool stuff, and it gives people a way not only to like reuse their stuff, but to it gives people a way to buy stuff that is kind of ethically sourced. So we're going to talk to them first, but then and also later on in the show we'll have Pat Joseph. She is here from the Fair Trade Shoppe that's located at the Stone Presbyterian Church, and they have items from around the world that's all ethically sourced. So we'll talk to her in a moment too. But first, Sarah Marris-Swann, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So I see you guys with tables and booths at all these cool community events and stuff, and I like what you have there. And so can you please tell the listeners more about what Utica Creative Reuse is?
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit arts organization, and we're a creative reuse center, which some people may be familiar with the concept. Basically, it is, it can be a lot of different things, but ours is a thrift store for arts and crafts supplies. Basically, it's a way to get those kinds of supplies and materials secondhand, and it's a way to keep those kinds of materials out of the landfill and out of the waste stream. So I've been talking about Black Friday and shopping and consumer habits and things like that. Yeah. This is a way to kind of convert those consumer habits into what is called a circular economy. Basically, keeping stuff in use instead of throwing it away and buying something new. So it helps to slow climate change by reducing our reliance on natural resources and having to buy new things. So it's our way of kind of trying to contribute to helping the community in better environmental habits. And it's also a way to contribute art and community space to the community. So right now we operate as a pop-up, and we go to all these different events like the Arts and Music Festival in Clinton, the Oneida County Public Market at the train station. Lots of other different locations in the community have partnered with us to host us, the Utica Public Library, different organizations and local businesses like Love and Stitches, the yarn shop in Yorkville. The Tramontaine Cafe is actually where we got our start with our very first pop-ups a year ago. So right now we're traveling around while we look for a brick and mortar location to open our center, and then from there we hope to be able to expand and continue to grow as this kind of organization with the mission to keep these kinds of materials, all materials really, out of the landfill, and get them into the hands of people who will use them.
What are some of like the materials that you have? Like when you talk about supplies, like what are some of the supplies that people can buy from you or contribute if they want to see it reused?
Yeah, so we have a list on our website that you can always check if you want to donate something. All of the stuff that we have in our thrift shop is stuff that people have donated. So basic arts and crafts supplies, crayons, pens, paper, paints, palettes, and yarn, crochet hooks, knitting needles, photography equipment, really anything you can think of. If you think of, I go to the art store, what do I want to buy? Our goal is that you would be able to buy it secondhand from us. But the other nice thing about a Creative Reuse Center is it's kind of like a treasure hunt. You never know what you're going to find. People donate really unusual materials sometimes, and people are looking for those kinds of materials as artists. People aren't always using the same standard, exact same thing all the time. They want to kind of branch into unusual materials, which we encourage. We do a lot of
may try stuff that they never would have worked
with
a new medium.
We actually host the other kind of arm of our mission is we host free art workshops in the community to make that kind of education accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
So a lot of our stuff is sort of centered around ways to reuse things. So we do, but to kind of mix that with traditional art forms as well. So we do
Right,
stuff
right.
like found object art with sculpture or mosaic.
Oh, cool.
So, we learn about how artists use objects that they just find lying
Yeah.
around and incorporate them into more traditional art forms.
So, to give people like a frame of reference here, it's kind of like almost like flea market type of stuff. Like I would go to events and I would see you there with a table and booth. And you could like go up and buy like if you wanted markers or highlighters or like you
Right.
could buy like whatever supplies you would need to do what you want to do and stuff.
Yeah, and the limiting factor for us has been as a pop-up, we can only bring what we can fit in our car.
Right.
We have so much more stuff that people have donated, and people want to donate more to us all the time. And so it's really kind of a little bottleneck right now that we're running into at a year
I'm sure.
in. We started in September 2023, so we've just gotten an amazing response from the community. People are really interested in the concept, and it's a concept that we know is viable elsewhere. There's over 100 creative reuse centers nationwide.
Really? So
Yeah.
is it where you got the idea from? Because I actually never heard of these.
Yeah, so I spent a few years out on the West Coast working in Seattle, and so I was kind of familiar with the concept because there were a couple out that way, and then last summer when I started thinking about it, it just kind of occurred to me as something that I was wondering if there was one near us. And I looked it up and I couldn't find anything nearby. I think the closest one is in Ithaca, the Finger Lakes Reuse Center, and theirs is huge. It's been in operation since the 90s, I think.
Down there,
Yeah, and they've expanded, like what you can do with the concepts is expand into architectural salvage and home goods and all, and it's just, it's a thrift store concept. Yeah.
Right.
And so you can start small creative reuse focused on something like arts and craft supplies.
Yeah.
Or like, the Restore used to do, Habitat for Humanity Restore had the furniture store.
Right.
Stuff
do
like
they
that.
still have that or
I think that location's or permanently closed.
Yeah,
as
I mean, a
know,
lot of things
over
changed
there.
with COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
So, was that part of the inspiration to you? Like, why 1 year ago did you decide like this is the thing I want to do?
So last summer I was kind of looking for a personal change in career for myself. I'm also a registered nurse, and
nice.
my background is in community mental health, working with people specifically over the last few years who were dealing with chronic homelessness, chronic mental illness, chronic substance use disorders, and all the physical conditions that come along with kind of snowballing all that together.
Yeah.
And while it's really challenging, really rewarding work, I was kind of ready to take a break for myself personally and look for, how else can I contribute to my community. One of the hardest things about doing that kind of work is you look around and you see the gaps that you can't fill.
Right.
And I was like, how could I fill one of these gaps, in a different way that would allow me to kind of rest some parts of the work that I've been doing, but still contribute in another way. And something that I'm really passionate about is having these kinds of third places in our community where it's not home, it's not work, but it's somewhere where you can go and be comfortable and accepted and find your community.
Yeah.
So, I think Utica has a good number of places like that, but we can there's
You
always
can
room
use
for more.
Yeah.
And we didn't have this specific kind, and so I thought, that could be something that I could do. I do art myself. I'm a painter mostly.
Really?
As a hobbyist, and I kind of dabble in different things when I'm interested in trying something out. I think as anyone who likes to do an art or craft knows, you kind of tend to, have a little.
Do you find that art is like a healing thing?
Yeah, definitely. That is another kind of consideration that I had when I was thinking about this. I was working in inpatient psychiatry and just noticing, what a huge difference it made to be able to, whenever we could as staff, offer, some kind of arts programming or music programming, just to have that, it really made people that were in that situation just seize their autonomy and feel like themselves again in a way that, it's hard to do when you're in the hospital and having kind of like one of the worst times of your life.
Yeah.
So
Right.
so this is something that allows people to express themselves and find community and feel safe.
And you know the thing with art too, like with our supplies, it's like they really do add up cost wise. So like for someone who wants to give something a try, you know, to buy like even paint and paintbrushes and stuff, it is a lot.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
a
nice
barrier, definitely.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
it's
And that's something that, you know, in healthcare we talk about all the time, barriers to access.
yeah, right.
You know,
right.
so it's a concept I'm super familiar with, and I think about, you know, what are the barriers to accessing all of those other little things that they tell you, you know, like, oh, you'll feel better if you just go out and do this.
Right.
Go do your hobbies, go find
But
your
hobbies
friends.
cost money, and
Hobbies
it's like,
cost
yeah.
money. Sometimes hanging out with your friends, it costs a lot of money. You know,
Right,
like
right.
doing things out in the community costs money.
Right.
So how can we lower those barriers and create spaces where people can come together and, you know, over a shared interest or activity kind of, and just, you know, be
So what
together.
are your workshops like?
Usually.
It sounds like the workshops would be a really good. It sounds like you're describing what these workshops are. Nice, a nice
they're
community.
really great little
Yeah.
events. We've had to cap them probably at around like 10 people per event, just because we're popping up in other people's space
Yeah.
most of the time, and we're limited. We have a lot
Well,
of
it's
limiting
good that you have
factors.
to like, you know, that you have enough people that you have to like
Yeah.
cut it off at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, we've had a lot of interest, and
That's really
they've
exciting.
been really great. Someone
Yeah.
literally said to me the other day as we were popping up to do a mending workshop that she woke up.
What a good idea! Like with clothes.
Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's
I had no idea how to like if I have a hole in my socks, I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
What a good idea.
We actually
Goodness.
just did a how to mend your sock one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and it's a form of mending called visible mending, which kind of
Yeah.
emphasizes like you're not trying to make this mend invisible. You're trying to actually
Right.
show people like, hey, I
fixed
this.
it, and
yeah,
I'm still
and I can still use it, and I'm
it.
proud of that.
Yeah.
And someone at the workshop showed up. She was like, I woke up so anxious this morning, and then I remembered I was coming to do this tonight, and I just feel so much better. And that was really kind of
That's
really exactly what I'm going for. Yeah.
That is so nice.
Yeah. So, you know, that's validating to hear that. And we just want to be able to keep expanding into, you know, offering
Yeah.
this as much as we can to more people in the community. And
What are some of the other workshops that you've done?
yeah, we've done a lot around kind of fiber arts textile waste, like the mending,
And that's like
darning.
becoming a popular thing now too. The whole fiber art stuff
Yeah.
that I've
Yep.
seen around.
Yeah, it's really fun and versatile. You can do a lot of different things with that.
Yeah.
And then, like I mentioned earlier, the found objects with sculpture and mosaic. And we are actually also doing a series of repair cafes now.
Interesting.
So we got some grant funding from the New York State Pollution Prevention Institute.
Nice.
And they are funding our series of workshops so that we can pay instructors to do the classes, whereas before it's all been 100% volunteer based.
Yeah.
And it'll give us some funding to buy some materials.
What sort of things will you repair? Do you think?
Yeah, so we had our first one last Friday, and we are focusing kind of on just small electronics and appliances and stuff.
Yeah, like coffee makers.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
fixed a coffee grinder, and 2 lamps at the last
Nice.
one, and then we figured out what was wrong with the humidifier, but we didn't have the part to fix it.
fix it.
So it's a really fun kind of problem solving
Yeah.
workshop, and that's kind of the cool thing about these workshops is, you know, we've done like weaving with the kids at the Midtown Utica
Really?
Community Center.
Weaving.
You know, using pieces of cardboard, you show them how you
Nice.
can like make a little loom.
Oh, wow.
And it's that kind of stuff, you know, at Space Valley you might think, oh, it's a cool art and craft thing. But it also teaches critical thinking, problem solving,
Yeah.
patterning, all of
Oh,
these
right.
really, you know, helpful
And it's
concepts
good to have
for
some
people.
of those like skills.
Yeah.
You know, like I would like to know how to sew
Yeah.
hull, you know, or how
Yeah, they're
fix
just
a
really
coffee maker.
valuable life skills
They
to
really
have.
are.
Yeah.
People we don't get that nowadays.
Yeah.
So has sustainability always been important to you?
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, I mean, always, I would hope so, but, you know, definitely something I think
Yeah.
more and more about all the time. I think you really
Right.
just can't, like, exist in today's society. There's headlines every day kind of bombarding you
I was gonna
about
say, yeah.
the situation with the climate and the environment and
Right.
everything that's going on all the time. It makes you think, like, how can I do my part, you know?
I know.
And
right.
it might feel like, as individuals, I know there's a lot of debate around the topic of, well, do my individual choices really matter? Do they impact anything? But the way that works is you've got to kind of snowball from an individual into community spaces, into affecting larger systems of change.
Yep.
You know, so getting into those spheres, graduating from individual to relationships, to your community, to your organization, to your, governmental, the higher up you can get, the better, but you can't get there without organized, communities working together to kind of advocate for these practices.
Yeah, and I think probably to show people how it can be done too,
Right.
with actually having stuff that was diverted from the landfill to say, hey, you can still use this and make stuff with this.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like it's taken off pretty quickly for you. Do you find a lot of people that wanted to help out and get involved?
Yeah, and we're really hoping to be able
This
to
is
kind
great after
of
just a year to be doing
Right.
all this stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people have been really interested in the concept, and like you're saying, I think people, if once they have those skills, they do want to be able to participate and reuse and act in that way. Sometimes it's just about knowing how to do it. And so I just added a volunteer button to our website, actually, so you can sign up as a volunteer if you're interested at uticacreativereuse.org.
Okay.
And I'm hoping we'll build a little mailing list so that we can start sending it out when we have a permanent location and we have more kind of tangible tasks.
And
for
so
people.
for now you're kind of moving around to where events take place and where you can have a space for the evening for our Stones or for a workshop and stuff.
Yeah, we're kind of tabling at events, and we bring as much stuff as we can with us to demonstrate the concept.
Right.
It's hard for us to do our shop and workshops at the same time.
I can imagine,
Just limited space. But so we try to do one or the other. Sometimes we've been able to do both at the same time. But
and the best place to get information about this is your website. Can you get that address one more time?
Yeah, it's Utica Creative Reuse.org.
Yep.
So,
and then also your Facebook page is kind of
we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. That's
good
all
for
of
you.
it, I think.
I am
Trying
too.
to manage all
Blue
those.
Sky now too.
There's a new one every day, it seems like. Yeah.
So do you have anything coming up for the holidays, holiday theme kind of stuff? Or?
So we're going to be I'm about to drop the December event schedule, and people who sign up for our newsletter on the website actually get that first.
Oh, nice.
So I send it out to the newsletter first, and then we open it up to the public on social media and everything like that. We're going to have a couple more repair cafes in December and a couple more workshops, the sculpture and fiber arts workshops. So there will be events to do, and there will be, I think we're going to do all 3 holiday markets at the Oneida County Public Market as well.
Great, and we'll have all this stuff on our website too.
Great.
So today I'm talking to Sarah Marris-Swann from Utica Creative Reuse. After the break, we'll also talk to Pat Joseph. She's from the Fair Trade Shoppe at Stone Presbyterian Church in Clinton. You're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. More after the break.
At First Source.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the hot seat on a Media Monday. Today is Thanksgiving week. Well, it's Thanksgiving week, not today, but so Black Friday is Friday. So kind of for the theme for today's show, we're talking about ways that you can maybe do some shopping on Friday, but in a way that's more sustainable, more ethical, but where you can still get some nice stuff. So my guest right now is Pat Joseph. She is from the Fair Trade Shoppe that's located in Stone Presbyterian Church in Clinton. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what is the Fair Trade Shoppe?
Well, first of all, the name of the shop is the Building Stones Fair Trade Shoppe.
Oh, okay.
And we started in Stone Church. Most of us, of the volunteers who work in the shop, are members of Stone Presbyterian Church. Not all, but most. And we started out by selling equal exchange coffee to the members of the church after worship service.
Now, what is that? What is equal
exchange is one of the fair trade vendors that we use. Now, let me explain a little bit about what fair trade means.
Yeah.
Fair trade means, and this is a little spiel I give whenever somebody new comes into the shop.
Yes, please do.
Fair trade means no slave labor, no sweatshop labor, no exploitation of children, and everybody gets a fair price for their product. Now, specifically when we say no exploitation of children, a lot of the children who may be involved are on farms, on family farms.
Yeah.
And we know here that children who live on family farms work on their farms.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we say no exploitation of children, that's what we mean. They have to be going to school, they have to be properly clothed, they have to be properly fed. So they're not exploited in what they do. They have limited things. But what we have is, we have products from about 38 countries around the world. We do have some things that are made in the United States, but mostly 38 countries, and we use about 23 at the moment fair trade vendors who agree to the principles of the Federation, the Fair Trade Federation.
So they can kind of like guarantee that it's ethical.
I don't know that we could say guarantee, but we can be fairly confident that what they're doing adheres to those principles.
Yeah.
And we have a little bit of everything. We have things, you were talking about reuse of things. Among the things we've had at various times are earrings that are cut out of aluminum cans.
Huh.
And they're just really cute. But you know, you can see that, like the Coke symbol or something like that on them.
Yeah.
And then we also have, unfortunately for us, fortunately for them, we were having a product called Bead for Life beads. There were beads that are made out of recycled paper by women in Uganda.
Oh.
Well, they have moved on to bigger and better things, so we can't get any more of their beads. We still have some, but we can't get any more. But that's the way they were utilizing and reusing things, or using things that would have ended up in a landfill.
Yeah.
Then you have a lot of products of things that are made in stone. Onyx, we have quite a few onyx items from Pakistan. Apparently there's a lot of onyx native.
Oh, really?
It's beautiful, beautiful things.
Yeah.
Chess sets.
Oh, wow.
And bookends, and carved elephants, and just absolutely just beautiful things. And then we have a lot of things from Guatemala and from Nicaragua, from Peru. We have a lot of felted wool items, big things, little things. We have alpaca stuffed animals that are just so cute, and they're so cuddly, and they're so soft, and everybody loves to play with them and see them.
So it's really stuff that like you can't buy anyplace else.
No,
so
no.
really unique gifts you can buy for people.
You're not going to get things in not to denigrate anybody else's business, but our stuff is different.
Right.
Yeah. We'll on the Black Friday, we will be open on this Friday from 10 in the morning till 7.
Wow.
And on Saturday from, I'm not sure whether we're open till 7, but anyway.
I think it's like 10 to 4.
Yeah. And then we'll be open. We're open every Thursday anyway. And then from now till Christmas, we'll also be open every Saturday, from 10 to 4.
And so, how long have you been involved in this shop?
Well, we figured that we started selling the coffee maybe 20 years ago,
Wow,
and then
it's been a
it
while.
expanded, and we got the Bead for Life. Then we found Maggie's socks, which are absolutely the best socks in the whole world. They're wonderful and they're comfortable.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
They're comfortable.
Yeah.
They last forever.
Oh, really?
They just, we don't need to do it.
Yeah.
They just last forever. And they wash easily. They dry. I wash them and dry them in the dryer. Nothing to it. And they're just great socks. And we have lots and lots of varieties of socks, from the ones that you can't see in your shoes, and up to wool hiker socks that are really, really wonderful socks. And
so I would imagine with all this stuff too, the quality is probably pretty good too, because it's all like handcrafted stuff.
yeah, a lot of it is handcrafted things. Yes. Well, most of it is handcrafted things. Yes, and the quality is good. Prices are very reasonable. We have quite a bit of jewelry, which is from a lot of different countries. We don't have diamonds and emeralds, but we have some.
Those usually
beautiful
aren't all
jewelry.
that ethical.
Yeah, they're probably not,
So,
but these are all ethically sourced.
Yeah.
And we also have, I talked about a product that was made here in the United States, is a product, a company from Denver. It's called the Women's Bean Project, and they make soup mixes and baking mixes. They have a lentil soup mix. The recipe from that comes from Giada De Laurentiis. It's really good soup.
So, like, do you know, like, how it impacts the women who, like, make the soup? Like, do you probably hear from some of the people that you buy stuff from, like.
The women who are in the Women's Bean Project are women who have experienced homelessness, also have experienced addictions, and they learn work skills, they learn time management, they learn money management, so that they can become independent and go someplace else and get a job and keep a job and have a home and support themselves. And they start in the Women's Bean Project. The nicest thing about them is that all of the packaging of things, they're signed by the woman who put it together.
Oh, I like that.
Which is really a cool thing.
So not only is it like ethical and non-exploitive, but like when you buy stuff from your shop, you're actually helping a lot of.
Absolutely.
The people that made it, you're helping them.
Whatever product you have here is helping somebody. We purchase all of the items.
Yeah.
And so they've already gotten their money when we sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And then any additional money that we make for it then gets donated to either local charities. We have donated to the Bowman House, to Hope House, to the food pantries, the Country Pantry particularly, because we're in Clinton.
Because you're close, yeah.
And I can't remember some of the other places, but we've donated as much as $7,500 in a year to those things. In addition to we pay the church.
Yeah,
because we use the internet and we use the electricity and we use the heat.
Yeah.
So we do pay the church for that.
So it probably helps them too, the church.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, things
Absolutely.
cost so much, so.
Churches, as we know everywhere, are not having a great time.
Right. So it's good to have something like that that's kind of a draw.
Yeah, it helps.
So.
It helps.
Let me ask you both, like,
Sure.
out of all the things that you have, that you sell, that people have made with your stuff, or that you've seen, what's some of the most interesting things that, like, your shop has, or something that you find particularly interesting, you're curious, that you like, that you would buy? So let me see. I'll go to you first, Sarah, because you had some time to rest here. So Sarah Marris-Swann from Creative Reuse. So what are some of the curious things that, like, people have? You were talking about how, like, found art. That you might go to, like, one of your events and see, like, stuff that you may not have thought, well, I should buy some of that to make something with, but maybe it's there. Like, with something that what are some of the things that, like, people have maybe that they've made with your stuff? We can say, like, hey, this is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's a little hard to pick. There's so many just diverse, variable things that people donate to us, but I really love the idea that a mosaic artist locally brought to us, that she asked, could you add broken mirrors and broken pottery, broken ceramics to your list of donated items, because I would use those. And she makes a lot of amazing mosaics out of found objects, just using, broken dinner plates and those, so there's some very, very beautiful things people have made just out of broken stuff.
And, like, you
really cool.
Wouldn't have thought to think, like, oh, should I donate this to someone? Can they use this and stuff? So,
yeah. And that's something we've had to pull back a little bit on, that because until we have a space, it's a little hard to store.
It must be hard to store all your stuff. Like, what do you do with it all?
Well, right now we have 2 storage units that are pretty full. And so a lot of time goes into organizing
to
that.
Help pay for those, or like
that's kind of all the money that comes from the thrift store sales goes into supporting the organization's operations. So storage unit costs.
Yeah.
Eventually, when we have a permanent location, it'll be rent and electricity and whatever we have to pay utilities there. Legal fees for all of the different things that you have to do when you're a nonprofit. Lots of different like little boring things that we have to pay for. And then what's left we get to reinvest back in the organization. Making it a nice place for people who want to come and programming that people will benefit from.
So do you use some of the stuff that comes into the creative reuse yourself with your art? What kind of art do you make?
So I mostly paint, and I have more than enough of my own collections of stuff at home that I'm trying to get through.
It builds up fast.
Yeah, a lot of artists I know have this same problem.
Yeah.
We're saving things because we know we're going to use it
you
in a
think
project
just
later.
a little bit of that blue shade of paint, so you
Yeah.
save it, then you go back to it, it's all dried up.
I've been saving like styrofoam to make bird baths and
Oh, cool.
outdoor sculptures and stuff by encapsulating them in concrete and then
Nice.
putting mosaic over the top of that. So
Yeah.
I'm working on that. It's a multi-step process, and you need nice weather to do it. So it's a little
That's true. That kind of sounds like
Yeah.
like an
it's a little
outdoor
limiting
thing.
factor, but
yeah.
so I don't need any help most of the time, but I like to know that if I did want to, like, I need to buy some yarn
Right.
or I need
It's all
to buy
there,
some paint. I don't need to go buy that
Right.
firsthand from the store.
And also,
Get
like,
it
if someone wants a
secondhand.
little bit of stuff, like, too, like, it
Mhm.
might be a good way to get a small amount,
That's a really cool part about this
Yeah.
too. Yeah, is that we'll be able to. So we sell fabric by the pound, for
Oh,
instance.
nice.
So
Yeah.
if you just want like a little piece of this really heavy thing
Yeah.
to patch a hole
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
curtain or
Yeah.
whatever, you don't need to buy a whole yard of it or whatever. You can just get a little scrap and go on your way. So
Yeah.
our goal is to make these kinds of materials like as accessible as possible to people,
Right.
so they can just get your work done, have fun doing it.
Now, do you ever make stuff like that, Pat? Do you do any kind of, like,
I'm a
crafts
knitter.
or- You are, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I find that the yarn multiplies.
It
Put
does.
it in a bag and put it in a closet and multiplies. And I say, now what am I going to do? So, yes, I understand completely. I understand completely. But let me tell you about a few of the things that we have in our shop.
Yeah.
And some of us who work there are the best customers.
I
Which-
do imagine.
What can I say?
Right.
We have these absolutely gorgeous greeting cards that they are quilled, the designs and patterns are quilled, and they're made in Vietnam. And quilling, if you don't know what it is it's very, very narrow strips of paper that are rolled and coiled into different shapes, and we have the most
Oh, no, I've
amazing
never heard of that.
things.
Wow.
Yes, I wish
Yeah.
we were on TV so we could see
Yeah.
them.
Well, I'll
But-
just stop in and see,
Come and see
Well,
us.
yeah.
And then we have these wonderful things from Nepal, and we have wonderful knit hats and felted hats that in Nepal it gets really cold, so we know that they're going
Up
to
in
keep
the
you
mountains,
warm.
right?
We have Himalayas.
Yeah.
Have this wonderful wool-lined mittens that are
Oh, nice.
very, very
Make
nice
it
and
very
warm.
warm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
yes.
need some of those.
Well,
My hands are already getting cold.
I know, you just think about it, you get cold.
Yeah.
And then we have some dishware. We have a number of things that we get from the West Bank, and that we have dishes that come from the West Bank that are just absolutely beautiful, and they help all of the Palestinian women. We
Yeah.
have olive oils that are made by.
Oh, so you have, like, food and stuff too?
We do. We have some foods.
Yeah.
We have olive oil that is made by Palestinian and Israeli women who work together.
Wow.
And I think that's a really important fact that we
Yeah.
need to realize
yeah.
that they are doing that, and they are very much affected. We don't know if we're going to be able to get them, get this product, but it's excellent product.
And what a nice gift that would be for someone too. Like
Oh,
to
yeah.
say, like, that you're doing something that not just to give them the thing, but to support that kind
Right.
of mission.
Right,
So,
right.
So,
I'm just looking through some of the
Yeah.
pictures that I have that helps to remind me, because I take pictures and I post on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page. It's called Building Stones Fair Trade Shoppe.
Okay, that's the
and,
Facebook page I didn't find because I was looking for that.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
Building Stones Fair Trade Shoppe.
Yeah.
And I probably should post more, but I do occasionally. The last post I did was a few days ago was the things that we have for Hanukkah,
Oh, nice.
because we have menorahs and we have
Yeah.
dreidels
Mhm.
and things like that are good, specific for Hanukkah. Some cards, some of the quilled cards, and then, excuse me, We have a lot of things from Guatemala. One of we have a whole variety of baskets that come from Guatemala that are made with pine needles. Now, if you go past a pine tree and you see this pile of pine needles on the ground, did it ever occur to you to pick them all up and sweep them up and make a basket? These are absolutely
that's
amazing,
I gotta see this.
amazing baskets. We have them from the kind that you might be able to use as something to put your rings into, up to very large foot or more diameter baskets and trays and things like that. But they're all made out of pine needles. So very long pine needles. But still, they take a lot of very careful weaving and very fine handwork.
Wow.
And
well, when we come back, when I ask you both if like doing this kind of work inspires you to make more stuff yourself, or to like find out like what it is that you're looking in, maybe to stock your stores in the spring, or to like, you know, what are your next workshops going to be. So you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. My guests today are Pat Joseph from Building Stones Fair Trade Shoppe in Clinton, and Sarah Marris-Swann from Utica Creative Reuse. I'll have more after the break. I'm Falkenstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. Hi everybody, welcome back to the hot seat on this Media Monday. This is Thanksgiving week, so Friday is Black Friday, and although it's lots of fun to go shopping and buy stuff, you know, you can also buy some stuff that's more reused, it's more ethical, more recycled, more variety. So my guests today are Pat Joseph. She is from the Building Stones Fair Trade Shoppe located in Clinton, and Sarah Marris-Swann, and she is the founder of Utica Creative Reuse. So I want to ask you both here. A lot of people that have been on guests on the show, including, I'm thinking Utica Royalties is a good example of this. They actually started, you know, during the COVID time, because of wanting to get out there and do something and provide something to the community. And I'm wondering for both of you, like, did COVID and the experience of like quarantining, the pandemic time, do you think that like inspired you to like actually like recommit to the world and the larger community and to doing good for the world?
Well, you have to think that COVID didn't affect just us here in the United States. It affected people all over the world. And since we get a lot of our things from a lot of different places, we wanted to be sure that we continued to support them. So we were open as much as we could be. We were in the first year, what was that, 2020? Yeah. We were in the when the farmers market did open, we were there, and we continued. You know, we probably were closed for a couple months because it was necessary. We didn't have a choice, but we continued. It didn't stop. I think it would have been easy to say, well, we're done, but it didn't happen, and we've gotten bigger and bigger. The last I heard, we were 16% above in sales what we had last year.
Congratulations!
So I expect we're going to keep going, and keep supporting all of these people around the world. Who make all these just beautiful products. And they do these in a way that they can stay where they are. They don't have to go someplace else. They can sustain their lives where they are, which most people want to stay at home.
And it must be nice to like buy that stuff too, because like, you know, when you buy things, sometimes you know you go to the store, you get a really good deal on stuff, and then you wonder like, am I participating in the exploitation of the people who made this thing?
One of the things we emphasize is no sweatshops.
You know,
and that people get a fair price for their product. It may seem very inexpensive to us, but from where they are, it's enough for them to support themselves and to be able to send their children to school. One of the things that happens in other countries is they do not have free public education, so they have to pay for it. And this allows them to make the money so that they can pay for the children's education. Yes. And that's a really important thing. Let me just say where our shop is located. We're in Stone Presbyterian Church. The entrance to the shop is on William Street. when we're open, there are signs up the street or down the street, whatever.
Yeah.
And by our door, there's a big flag that says open, red, white, and blue, open flag.
Yep.
So we're
And people
easy to see.
go down. It's like in the
We
basement.
go, we're in the
church.
basement,
Yep.
but it's only about 3 or 4 steps down.
Right.
If somebody is really handicapped, we do have, it's a little circuitous to get there, but we can get a wheelchair, we do have an
Yeah.
elevator, and,
But that's what it looked for. I just to
Yes.
let people know, like, it's kind of
Right.
like on the side of the church.
Right.
But there is that big flag, and there's a lot of signs and
Yes,
stuff, so it's
yes,
pretty easy
yes.
to find. So,
yes.
so like on Friday when you're at the stroll and stuff, it's a good thing to.
Friday's gonna be our busiest day of the year.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
it is Black Friday. So,
Yeah, between Friday and Saturday, we will have a very, very busy time, and we'll love every minute of it.
Yeah.
And,
16% increase in sales. That is really
over
good.
1 year, yes,
Yeah, that's
yes,
very happy
yes,
to hear.
we're really pleased with that.
So Sarah, how about you? Like, how did COVID affect you? Did COVID have an impact on like this group? Like, was this part of the idea? Like, did it inspire you to get more involved in like the real IRL life?
Yeah, well, as a healthcare worker during the pandemic, we didn't really get to quarantine or take
Right.
days and
I
went
know.
to be at home. Really,
I was teaching, so
Yeah.
it was like, it wasn't home, but
Yeah.
it was like never worked so hard in my life.
oh
you know?
yeah, it was kind of like working
Yeah.
double time the whole
Oh,
time.
it was. Yeah.
But what I think did contribute to partially maybe in the formation of the idea in my mind last year was, I think it did a lot of damage to our social fabric, to our community spaces. A lot of places had to close or cut back hours, and a lot of them haven't been able to bounce back all the way from that either. And so, and then you have kind of this huge reshuffling, the great resignation that occurred during the
Right.
same time. A lot of people kind of
People switch
moving around, switching
careers
careers,
and,
like
yeah.
myself.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
just people moving around looking for, new community and new places.
Yeah.
I meet a lot of people all the time that just moved to Utica, and they're
Really?
trying to find their people. They're
Yeah.
trying to find, how can I contribute to this community? And
Yeah.
they're doing a great job. Like, they're really getting out there and
Yeah.
making a difference, and a lot of them come and ask how they can volunteer with us. And so I think it's been a really difficult thing for us to all kind of go through, and we're all collectively healing from that. But it's also a great opportunity for us to kind of reevaluate our priorities and
Yeah.
and what we want to do.
And one thing that I've seen from doing the show is like how many people are out there. They're doing really great stuff. Like what you're doing. You may not know each other until now, but like you find out like there's all these other groups too. Like
Yeah.
Utica Royalties is a great organization that like I met through the show where she just started to like get kids together to like dance and sing, and then she made this group
And they're
it's
doing
like-
so much more too on top
I
of that,
know,
which
it's
is really great. They're an
incredible.
amazing organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like so Pat, like for your store,
yes,
it's been about 20 years now. About
20 years
15
altogether, probably
yeah.
15 that we've actually
With-
been open to the public in general, yeah.
Now, I was going to ask you, like, at first, did people know what it was? Did you have to
No.
like sell people on the idea of what fair
People
trade
did
is?
not understand what fair trade was. We had people come in and say, is this a swap shop? Or
Oh,
is this
yeah.
a thrift shop?
Mm.
Or is this reuse things? And and we explain things.
Yeah.
And we've over time we really have developed a following. People who
Oh, I bet.
come and I'm in at home, and I always come in here every year when I come home from wherever around the world.
Yeah.
And they love the things that we have in our shop because they don't find them other places.
Yeah.
And they just like what it does, that it supports people
Yeah.
in their own homes. And they like the products, they like the purpose, they like the how it does good, not just for the
Right.
people that make the products, but that because we distribute
Yeah.
monies in this community,
Yeah. Right. Right.
which adds also to it.
It's
And-
really nice to be able to buy stuff and like feel good about buying it.
Yeah.
Not just like I had to get this, like needed this,
Right.
or like okay, that's cheap enough, I'll get that. But to really feel like you're doing good,
Yeah.
it must feel nice. So.
We when I'm in the shop and I'm working it's usually on Thursday mornings that I'm there, you know, the first thing I say when somebody comes in, are you familiar with fair trade? Or have you been in our shop before? Are you familiar with fair trade? And then I give my little spiel on what fair trade is, and then leave it open for questions, and whatever questions I can answer.
Do you feel like more people nowadays know what that is?
Yes,
Okay.
most definitely. I do my spiel much less often than I did when we first started doing it.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So it's good in a way too that you did this, because I'm sure that by having this store, it goes above just the purchase that the people make. The idea of
Yes, absolutely.
of ethics and
Absolutely.
consumerism is a good
Absolutely.
thing to promote. You know,
And
so,
our products are just really special. They're things that,
Yeah.
you know, you're not gonna see them other places.
which is really
and,
nice, because
yeah.
that's hard to find nowadays. You know,
Yeah.
you can get whatever you want, but it's
Oh,
all
yeah.
kind of the same
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sir, has this for you, like, has having this your organization, has it changed the way that, like, you think about stuff that you're gonna buy? Like, are you more conscious now of your carbon footprint in the products that you buy because of the, you know, being actively involved in reuse and recycling and cutting down on landfill?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's something that I've always thought about, but it's definitely something that I am always thinking about now, just
Yeah.
like actively thinking, oh, you know, how can we kind of find a way to keep this material from entering the waste stream? How can I live that as an individual person? And what's a good way that we can kind of do that en masse, you know,
Right,
with
right.
as many people as possible, and make it easy for people to do.
That's the thing.
You know,
that's like,
we all see
yeah.
like the 5-minute craft things on Facebook or whatever that are like, oh, it's so easy. You can turn all these soda cans into a trash basket.
Right,
If you have, you know, a welding
Oh, that's
like
not-
equipment and a soldering iron and like a million other
Right.
things, you know, it's like, well, that's not
Yeah,
that easy.
right.
But there's, you know, there are things you can do, like making a cute pair of earrings,
Oh,
or
yeah.
you know, like
Right.
there's lots of accessible ways to reuse stuff, and I do find myself sort of thinking more and more about, you know, there's a whole movement towards zero waste living. Like,
Yeah,
how can I
right.
just like cut down what I'm throwing away
Yeah.
to with the goal of throwing away nothing.
Right.
It's hard
How are
in
you
the way
dealing with that?
society exists right now. You know, not, you know.
I mean, me too.
I think it's
really
about
hard
the
to deal with,
journey.
right?
You're working towards it. You're thinking about
Yeah.
it, and you're trying to live with that purpose in mind and make more ethical decisions
Yes,
and more
yes.
ethical consumer habits. You know, and
Yeah.
thinking about, can I fix this instead of throwing it out?
Right.
You know, or would somebody else use this? You know, the Buy Nothing groups
Mhm.
do a lot to help
I
try
was
to
gonna say,
keep
the Buy
stuff
Nothing
out
groups
there.
are like
We-
start to emerge too.
We
Mhm.
gather grocery bags or gift bags that people have given. I get a lot of them, and we reuse them. So if you come into our shop, you might get whatever you buy. You might get it put into a Target bag
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
Boscov's bag or an Ulta bag or whatever.
But that's good
Because
though,
that's
I
what
think.
people
Yeah.
will bring us those bags and we use them, and then we don't have to buy more
Right.
bags.
Right.
And a lot of people come in with their bags.
Mhm.
We sell a lot of baskets and, market baskets.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
people
yeah.
will come in with their market baskets and say, oh, no, I have my basket here with me. And it's just great.
Yeah, it's good
It's
to
just great.
normalize
Yeah.
those kinds of practices. I mean, it
Yeah.
saves you money, and it
Yeah.
you know, it saves them
Yeah.
eventual.
We would rather not
problems.
be buying things like that, we
Yeah.
would rather that people come equipped and prepared,
Yeah.
or we will provide used bags.
And I love the people
Yeah.
who come and buy the market basket and keep coming back with
Yes.
that, because people don't want to be throwing this stuff away.
No,
Is what I've
no,
really learned
no.
from doing this.
Right.
Yeah, Utica Creative Reuse is people are really looking for ways to
Yes.
cut back on all of that. They
Yeah.
want
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
better. They want to be able to contribute to making our environment healthier and
Right.
safer and more of a community, like pulling together towards this common good.
There's so much plastic that like goes out there.
Yeah,
Like I was thinking,
it's hard
just
to
like with
avoid.
my dry erase markers alone.
We have
it's like,
very little plastic.
Mm-hmm.
We really
Good.
have very little plastic. Most of the plastic we have is that we take credit cards.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, but,
No, it's not a bad thing.
we would prefer to take cash because otherwise we have to pay for the use of the credit
Oh
card.
yeah.
But, it's helped our business a lot that we do take credit cards.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
people like
right,
that, even
yeah.
though, And we pay for it.
Well, that too,
But-
like after COVID, a lot of people, like I actually
Yeah.
go back to cash, so.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
use
good that-
cash most of the time myself,
Yeah.
but, you know, I have the credit cards.
I never really liked cash, so it was easy for me, and I really don't like coins. I have very
Oh.
like OCD about coins, so
Oh.
it's like, yeah. But I did work in retail though for 15 years, but I really
Well,
liked
that may be why you don't like cash.
I don't know, because when I worked in retail, like on the register, I liked it fine, you know. But
Yeah.
as I got older, it's like coins. I just don't. And then after COVID, I never went back to them.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So give us one more time. Like, what are your two organizations? Where are you located? What are you all about? Where can people find it? Get involved. Let's see. We'll start with you, Sarah, first. Sarah Marris-Swann from Utica Creative Reuse. What is it all about?
Yeah, so we're a nonprofit organization focused on arts and art education. We operate a thrift store for arts and crafts supplies, and right now we are a pop-up. You can find us at the Oneida County Public Market, and we'll be there in December on the 7th, 14th, and 21st for their holiday markets. Those are from 9 a.m. to noon at the Union Station in Utica.
And what days are those?
And those are on Saturdays.
They're Saturdays,
Yeah,
okay,
and
yeah.
we are actively working really hard to open a brick and mortar permanent location in Utica where we can expand those hours,
That'd
be
be
open to
awesome.
the public as much as possible, get more of the stuff. So our mission is to keep usable materials out of the landfill, out of the waste stream, and get them into the hands of people who are going to use them through the thrift store and through our arts workshops that we offer for free to the community. So in addition to the pop-ups
Also,
we're
the
doing at the
workshops are
county,
free. So,
yeah, they're all, we want that to be as accessible as possible, get that education out there, it's a fun way to kind of learn a new skill, dive into something that you might have been interested about, like embroidery or sculpture or mosaic or mending, that you
Yeah.
haven't tried. Maybe the cost of like acquiring the materials was a barrier. All of the
Yeah.
materials are donated. Sometimes we have to buy some additional supplies for
Yeah.
like grout and things like that
Oh,
that run
yeah,
out.
those certain
But
things, yeah.
we run these free art workshops in the community, and we'll be having 4 of those in December as well. And the schedule is going to be dropping this week. I'm going to be putting that out. So if you're signed up for our newsletter on our website at uticacreativereuse.org, you can find our event schedule, sign up for our newsletter, and learn more about kind of what a Creative Reuse Center is and what we hope to do.
That's really great. I'm gonna have links to all the stuff on the show notes,
Great.
so you can like send me all that too.
Mhm.
So Pat, one more time. What is the Building Stones Fair Trade Shoppe?
Well, first of all, we're a fair trade shop, and a fair trade shop means that we all of our products are made without slave labor, without exploiting children, without sweatshop labor. Can't remember what the other thing was, but whatever. We have products from 38 countries around the world. We have products from 23 different vendors who promise to adhere to the fair trade principles. And we have many very interesting things, from tiny little things like a pair of earrings all the way up to an onyx chess set, which is absolutely gorgeous. We also
I
have
can just
lots of
imagine that.
baskets
Yeah.
from many different places. We have wonderful baskets that come from India. Where each piece is rolled in old saris that they reuse.
Wow.
Great place for the reusing, and
Yeah.
they're wonderful like laundry baskets and things like that. We have chocolates.
Oh,
And we
really?
have chocolate that is equal exchange, and it's fair trade, obviously, and it's great chocolate. I don't want to say anything bad about other chocolates, but they may use child labor or
Oh,
other
yeah,
things
some
like
is
that. So
right.
our chocolates are really good,
Yeah.
and we have a lot of different varieties of chocolates.
And so this is in the Stone Presbyterian Church.
We are in Stone Presbyterian Church. We're actually in the basement. The entrance is on William Street, which runs parallel to College, or perpendicular to College Street. And Stone Presbyterian Church is the great big brown stone church that's
Yeah.
right on the
Very easy to
on the
find,
green.
like,
It's really
once
easy to
you're
find.
there.
And
And you'll be open every Saturday
we'll be open
till the holidays, right?
through the
And Friday,
holidays
too.
every Thursday and every Saturday.
Yep.
And we'll also be open this coming Friday, Black Friday,
Yep.
from 10 in the morning till 7 at night. We take cash, checks, and credit cards. And we would love to see you come and see what we have and explore all the different kinds of things that we have that you're not going to find in other places.
And I'll put links to that up too on this website,
Terrific.
uticaphoenix.net/Media Monday. I'll have that up on Wednesday. So thank you to my guests today, Sarah Marris-Swann from Utica Creative Reuse and Pat Joseph from Building Stones Fair Trade Shoppe. I'll have more next week on Media Monday. I'm going to kick things over to Jay Easy for the Easy Ride Home.